The main vault access is here.
We move through this corridor during the shift change.
What about the secondary camera here?
On a quiet Friday afternoon in Southern California, one of the most daring crimes in American history was about to unfold. What began as an ordinary day at a bank quickly turned into a story that would shock the nation and rewrite the record books. This is the story of the largest bank robbery in U.S. history, a heist so bold, so carefully planned, and so successful that it left investigators stunned for years. The target was a Bank of America branch located in the city of Escondido, California. At first glance, it looked like any other bank. Customers came and went, employees worked behind counters, and life continued as normal. But hidden beneath the building was a vault containing tens of millions of dollars in cash. The criminals behind the robbery were not ordinary thieves. They were patient, organized, and willing to spend months preparing for their crime. Instead of storming into the bank with weapons or threatening employees, they chose a much more sophisticated approach. Their plan involved avoiding attention entirely. The robbers rented a nearby office space in an industrial complex close to the bank. To outsiders, the office appeared legitimate. No one suspected anything unusual. But behind closed doors, the criminals began working on a secret project. Their goal was to reach the bank vault without ever entering through the front door. Over several months, the group carefully dug a tunnel beneath the ground. The tunnel stretched from the rented office building toward the bank. It was not a crude hole in the dirt. Reports later revealed that it was remarkably sophisticated. The tunnel included lighting, ventilation systems, and structural supports. The robbers had clearly invested significant time and effort into ensuring that it would not collapse. Night after night, they continued their work. They removed dirt, reinforced walls, and slowly advanced toward their target. Because all the digging occurred underground, no one noticed what was happening. The bank remained completely unaware that criminals were moving closer with every passing week. Finally, after months of preparation, the tunnel reached the bank vault. The criminals waited for the perfect opportunity. During a holiday weekend in 1997, when the bank would be closed for an extended period, they put their plan into action. Using the tunnel, the robbers entered the vault area without triggering the kind of alarms typically associated with a break-in. Once inside, they began opening safe deposit boxes. These boxes contained cash, jewelry, precious metals, and personal valuables belonging to customers. The thieves worked methodically. They were not rushed. Because the bank was closed, they had valuable time to carry out their operation. One by one, they emptied hundreds of safe deposit boxes and gathered everything of value they could find. When bank employees returned after the holiday weekend, they were met with a shocking scene. The vault had been breached, and hundreds of boxes had been opened. Customers soon learned that their valuables had vanished. As investigators began assessing the damage, the scale of the robbery became clear. The thieves had stolen an estimated $18.9 million in cash and valuables. At the time, it was considered the largest bank robbery in United States history. The discovery triggered a massive investigation involving local authorities and federal law enforcement agencies. Detectives examined the tunnel and were amazed by its complexity. This was not the work of amateurs. Whoever had committed the crime possessed significant planning skills and technical knowledge. Investigators followed every lead they could find. They studied rental records, interviewed witnesses, and searched for clues left behind in the tunnel. Yet despite their efforts, the robbers seemed to have disappeared without a trace. Years passed, and the case became one of America's most famous unsolved crimes. The mystery only increased public fascination. How had such a massive robbery been carried out? Who were the people responsible? And where had all the stolen valuables gone? Eventually, investigators began uncovering connections that pointed toward an organized criminal group. Evidence suggested that several individuals had participated in planning and executing the heist. Some suspects were linked to similar tunnel robberies carried out in other locations. As authorities continued piecing together the puzzle, arrests were eventually made. Over time, several people connected to the robbery were identified and prosecuted. However, recovering the stolen property proved far more difficult. Much of the money and valuables were never recovered. For many victims, family heirlooms, jewelry, and treasured possessions disappeared forever. While insurance helped compensate some losses, many items held sentimental value that could never be replaced. The Escondido bank robbery remains legendary because of the extraordinary level of planning involved. Unlike the dramatic bank robberies often seen in movies, this crime relied on patience rather than violence. The robbers spent months preparing, avoiding attention, and executing their plan with remarkable precision. The case also exposed vulnerabilities in bank security systems. Financial institutions across the country took notice and began reviewing how underground access and physical security were monitored. The robbery served as a wake-up call, demonstrating that even highly secure facilities could be vulnerable to unexpected methods of attack. Today, decades later, the story continues to captivate audiences around the world. It combines mystery, engineering, suspense, and one of the largest thefts ever recorded in American history. The image of criminals secretly digging a tunnel beneath a city to reach millions of dollars sounds like the plot of a Hollywood movie. Yet it really happened. In the end, the largest bank robbery in U.S. history was not defined by guns, high-speed chases, or dramatic standoffs. It was defined by patience, secrecy, and meticulous planning. And even now, years after the vault was breached and the thieves vanished into history, the heist remains one of the most astonishing crimes America has ever seen.